Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Three Things to Watch. Rob, we finished another entertaining Saturday of CAA football. Hampton picked up their first conference win. New Hampshire sealed a shutout for the first time since 2018. Rhode Island and Maine both snapped their opponents' win streaks. It goes to show that records and rankings aside, on any given day, any team can come away with a win in this CAA. But now let's look ahead to Week 8. We've got some really competitive conference matchups on the table. Our first thing to watch features number 22 Rhode Island versus Monmouth. It's homecoming weekend at Kessler Stadium, and the Hawks look to turn things around after their 4-game winning streak was snapped at Maine, whereas Rhode Island is coming into this one with confidence after their victory against a really talented Elon squad last week. Rob, the Rams defense going head-to-head with Monmouth's offense. That'll be fun.
It should be fun, Carly, because these are two very talented teams. As you said, what a tremendous effort turned in last week by the Rhode Island defense, holding Elon to a season-low 263 yards and only 10 points. If that wasn't enough, the Rams defense also provided the game-winning points when Jared Martin intercepted a pass and returned it 16 yards for a touchdown with just 8:37 to play. Now, along with Martin, linebacker Evan Stewart had a big afternoon with 7 tackles and a crucial pass breakup on 4th down. They will need to be at their best again on Saturday against Monmouth's high-powered attack. The Hawks featured the leading rusher in FCS in Jaden Sheridan, who has already topped the 100-yard mark 5 times this season, and quarterback Tony Muskett, who threw for 292 yards and 3 touchdowns at Maine last week. The Hawks have scored 35 or more points 5 times, but the key for them is limiting turnovers. Last week they had 3, which led directly to 21 points in a 38-28 loss to the Black Bears.
Let's hear what Rhode Island's Jim Fleming and Monmouth's Kevin Callahan had to say about the matchup.
Big gnarly offensive line. I think the receiver core is good. The running back is special. The quarterback makes plays. He moves around and does nice things, and they've got a challenging scheme.
I think that, if you look at their defense, they're a very, very stout defense. They've got tremendous size, and they all run very, very well. We're going to have to be able to find some way to move the ball a little bit and get some points on the board and get it into the end zone.
All right, our second thing to watch takes us to Hampton, Virginia for homecoming weekend. Rob, when Hampton entered the conference, I talked with their athletic director, Eugene Marshall, and he said, if there's a time to be on the Pirates campus, it was this weekend. The band, the camaraderie, and all the excitement will make it a great atmosphere to play in, and Richmond, I believe, is more than ready to make noise of their own on the road.
I'm not sure it will match the party outside the stadium, but Richmond and Hampton should be riding high after big victories last Saturday. All year long, we've talked about the prolific Spiders passing attack, but in last week's 20-10 win over 17th-ranked Villanova, Richmond ran for a season-high 227 yards behind Aaron Dykes, Savon Smith, and Mylan Howard. It will be interesting to see if they're able to have similar success against a Pirates defense that ranked second in the CAA against the run and held Albany to just 90 yards on the ground last week. Now, on the other side of the ball, Hampton's offense rallied from a 14-point fourth-quarter deficit to edge Albany 38-37 in overtime as Malcolm Mays came off the bench to throw 4 touchdown passes, with 2 of them going to All-American wide receiver Jadakiss Bonds. They'll face a big challenge against the Spiders defense that recorded 4 sacks and an interception while holding Villanova's big play passing game to just 146 yards. It should be quite a matchup between those in-state foes.
Also, a nice family rivalry on Saturday. Richmond's offensive coordinator, Billy Kosh, will go up against his dad, Chris Kosh, who's co-defensive coordinator at Hampton. Very cool. Let's listen to what Hampton's Robert Prunty and Richmond's Russ Huseman had to say heading into Week 8.
I mean, they can hurt you. They can hurt you with the pass. They can hurt you with the run, and you get caught up in that. And then you go to the defensive side. That defensive front, especially with those DNs, they get after you.
They have really good players. I mean, they played Maine toe to toe. They beat Albany. So I know it got away from a little bit at Delaware, but they've got really good players. They got players that are really good in the CAA, and it'll be tough.
Okay, now for our third thing to watch, let's feature another tough conference matchup. Elon versus New Hampshire. The Wildcats are the only team that remains undefeated in conference play, and I'm interested to see how Elon responds this week after suffering their first conference loss in Week 7. Rob, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, Carly, this is a game everyone in the CAA is going to be keeping an eye on. New Hampshire sits alone atop the conference at 4-0, but Elon is one of 6 one-loss teams that are just close behind in the FCS most competitive league. There are so many interesting angles, but let's focus on the New Hampshire defense, which posted its first shutout since 2018 last week in beating Dartmouth 14-0. The Wildcats haven't given up more than 14 points to their last 3 FCS opponents. They're number 1 in the CA against the run, and if you decide to pass, they are number 1 in the league with 23 quarterback sacks. Leading that charge are their sophomore defensive ends Josiah Silver and Dylan Ruiz, who have combined for 13.5 sacks. Now, Elon counters with one of the most balanced and dangerous offenses in the CA that's put 30 or more points on the board 4 times. It starts with versatile quarterback Matthew McKay, who leads the league in total offense with nearly 300 yards per game and has accounted for 17 touchdowns either passing or running. Receivers Bryson Daughtry and Jackson Parham have combined for 65 catches and 8 touchdowns, and Jalen Hampton is one of the CA's top rushers. Now, the Phoenix struggled a week ago in the setback at Rhode Island, and they're going to need to get rolling if they're going to get past New Hampshire.
Sweet full circle moment here. Coach Trisciani helped recruit Rick Santos at UNH. Now here they are. Let's hear what Santos and Trisciani had to say about the game.
I think their quarterback, Matthew McKay, the transfer from NC State, big, physically imposing young man, can throw the ball all over. He's got a cannon for an arm. And then their skill guys out wide are just dynamic. Parham is as good as you're going to find at the FCS level. Big, long, can run, can high point it, can go get it.
Rushing defense are the top rushing defensive team in the CAA. And it all starts up front with their discipline and how they fit their gaps. And, they've been running the same defense for a while now. They're good at it. The kids know what they're doing. They know their role in the defense. They've got some dynamic pass rushers in Josiah Silver and Dylan Ruiz who can get to the quarterback, and that always helps the defense.
Rob, can't wait to see how another tough weekend of CAA football plays out. We'll be watching. I hope you are too. All games can be seen on Flow Football, and make sure to follow at CAA Football on all social media platforms. Enjoy.